Okay. The vocabulary portion at the top is the same as what we talked about last week, so we're just going to review over that. First, let's do the right triangle here. Go ahead and make this right angle bold. And if you have your highlighter, go ahead and highlight this side length. What is this side length called? Hypotenuse, thank you. Go ahead and label that. And what are the other two lengths going to be called? Legs, good. Okay. Most of our lessons this week, we've already kind of previewed it from Friday. We're going to be either finding a missing hypotenuse or a missing leg. So it is really important that you know what the difference is between the two. The hypotenuse, how did we define it last week? It is the biggest side. So we would say it's the longest side of a right triangle. They are only good for right triangles. And how do we describe what a leg is? Yeah, the two sides that make up the right angle or create the right angle. So the sides that create the right angle. Okay, and what was our Pythagorean theorem? And which one is the hypotenuse? Okay, so label that the hypotenuse. Go ahead and next to hypotenuse put a C, because that's what we always label it as. That's its placeholder. And A and B are what? And they are interchangeable. A and B are just legs. So it doesn't matter which one is labeled A and which one is labeled B. All right, so now we're going to talk about how to find a hypotenuse. So if the missing length is as a hypotenuse, we're still going to use A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, now last week we were testing to see whether something was a right triangle or not by just checking to see if this side of the equation equaled this side of the equation. But this week we're going to have missing side lengths. The big focus today is a missing hypotenuse. Okay, but this is not the hypotenuse, C squared. C by itself is the hypotenuse. What's the inverse operation of squaring a value? Okay, so we're going to have to square root both sides of this equation. When we use that inverse operation, these two cancel for C, and C is left alone, and C is what we identify as the hypotenuse. We cannot simplify this side because we have an operation under it. We would have to figure out what this sum was before we took the square root. So we just have to bring this information down. So the square root of A squared plus B squared. Okay, and go ahead and label that you are finding the hypotenuse here. Okay, so looking at the example here, this is supposed to be finding for a hypotenuse. So what are my two legs? Go ahead and put that 90-degree angle. Okay, and so we're going to take the square root of 99 squared plus 20 squared. And on your calculator, you're supposed to do that just as it's written. Okay, so make sure you do your square root first, second, and x squared, and then type in 99 squared plus 20 squared. Just press enter. If it gives you a root value, press your double arrow key. If it does not, just write that number down. It's 101. So 101 is the side length for the hypotenuse. Is it the largest number? Yes, it's larger than 20 and 99, and that's exactly what we were expecting for a hypotenuse. Okay, move on to the next one. Try this one on your own. What does it say that you're looking for? You're still looking for the hypotenuse. Okay, make sure you write your work down like this first and then calculate it. problem below and not next to. Raise your hand if you got 10. Good. Okay. So what you should have written, 8 squared plus 6 squared. Does the order matter here? No, it's addition. So 8 squared plus 6 squared, take the square root of that. That's what it's going to look like in your calculator if you're putting it in correctly. And you just press enter, and it gave us a value of 10. So our hypotenuse for this triangle is 10. All right, now